In today's gospel, we have the naming of John the Baptist, but I want to focus on John the Baptist's father, Zechariah, in this gospel. So we're told that Zechariah had been mute. He was unable to speak right up until the time of the naming of John the Baptist. And I want to contrast Zechariah's behavior when he's first struck dumb and his behavior when he's free to speak. So, what caused Zechariah to go mute? Well, the angel Gabriel said that his wife Elizabeth, who was past her childbearing years, would conceive, and in disbelief, or a bit of sarcasm or saltiness, or maybe a bit of both, Zechariah says, "How will I know that this will come to pass? How will I know that this is going to come true?" In other words, Zechariah was concerned only about himself and about his own plans and his own agenda. And as a result, a sort of paralysis set in, a paralysis of the tongue, and he was unable to speak. Something very similar happens to all of us, maybe not in a physical way, but something similar happens to us when you and I get overly concerned with ourselves and our plans and our agenda. A sort of spiritual paralysis sets in and we become useless and even problematic to the people around us. Now, what finally freed Zechariah to speak? Well, he was free to speak when he set aside his own agenda and did what God was asking of him and named his son John instead of the name that he wanted to give his son prior to that. And as a result, he was free to speak. And not only was he free to speak, but he was speaking to the amazement of the others around him. You know, usually we think of ourselves as being free when we get to do what we want to do and not necessarily what God is asking of us to do. But paradoxically, nothing is further from the truth. The truth is, when you and I lay aside ourselves and embrace God's plans for our lives, then we become truly free. We become truly alive. As St. Irenaeus once said, the glory of God is man fully alive. And not only do you become alive and flourishing, but you become like a beacon of light, attracting other people to God. So this is how it works. Once Zechariah was able to speak, later on in the Gospels, it says that awe and amazement came over all their neighbors. And all these things were talked about throughout the entire hill country of Judea. So again, when Zechariah decided to forget himself and in a sense get lost in God's plans for him, he naturally and immediately began to point others to God. So today, perhaps we can ask ourselves how we can forget ourselves today and commit to doing what the Lord is asking of us. And as a result, we will experience true freedom and attract others to the Lord.